Hello, hello. Voice is clear. PPT is visible. Both are okay. Okay, fine. So, good afternoon to everybody. Uh, as usual, you are knowing me very well. As far as this faculty development program is concerned, so introduction has not been started, as we all know each other since from last 4 days. We together over here for the discussion of the concrete technology as well as the sustainable construction practices. I think Nirav sir, my voice is clear and the PPT is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, both are okay, audio and video.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So warmly welcome to all the participants in the last session of the fourth day. Today, let us start with the expert talk on the design of fiber reinforced polymer sheet for the strengthening of the structures as a one of the aspect. And the second aspect that we have to discuss about the durability concern of the FRP. Today's session objective is to provide the information about design guidelines of structural component with FRP. The basic intention, the design is a very broad, detailed guidelines has been given for the flexural strengthening, for the shear strengthening as well as the beam is concerned and slab is concerned. Also, for the column, for the confinement strengthening is concerned, for the foundation strengthening concerned, but for the limited scope within these 2 hours, we will discuss exhaustively and some of the glimpsing about the flexural strengthening is concerned with the codal provision and what the task can we do as far as the Indian scenario is concerned. The another objective is to provide the general awareness of importance of the durability considerations of the FRP. How the durability is one of the important tasks as far as the FRP is concerned. In the last session, in the first day, third session, we were discussed about the FRP. That is the fiber reinforced polymer, maybe a reinforcement as a bar, maybe a plastic, maybe a sheet. The three different things that we had discussed. So we know that the nowadays the infrastructural crisis needed the re-strengthening or retrofitting of a structure. So instead of going with the same material, it is at most important to use fiber reinforced polymer sheet. I will be briefly discussed something about this FRP within 2-3 slides that we were discussed in the first session, slightly revision part, and then we will proceed further, switch over to the design part. The key uses of FRP in construction is the first one is the internal reinforcement of concrete. We discussed this one also. That is the due to certain pultrusion process that we are making the FRP bar, maybe a glass FRP reinforcement, maybe a carbon FRP reinforcement, the type of the fiber which has been used, and the polymer resin which has been used to make up the FRP bar. So this is the first case where the internal reinforcement of concrete which has been used. So corrosion of steel reinforcement in concrete structure contribute the infrastructure deterioration. So with that sense, a non-corrosive thing, FRP reinforcement, which will be benefited. They have their own advantages with the disadvantages along with the durability aspects that we will discuss in this session itself. We have to also find out where the gaps are there and where we have to focus more on research side or where we have to carry out, or we have to carry it out from our students, maybe at master, maybe at PhD level, as far as the FRP is concerned. And the second one is the external strengthening of concrete. That is the another use of FRP. As shown in this image, it is FRP sheet is concerned, FRP cloth is concerned. This FRP sheet, this FRP cloth, which is made up of glass, maybe of carbon, maybe of armid, basalt is also available in the market. The type of FRP sheet available in the market with the different polymer resin matrix combined together, we can achieve the FRP reinforcement, specifically in terms of sheet. The construction, that can I say that this FRP may be prefabricated in the I can say industry and then to be used at a site, or directly FRP is different, polymer resins are different, both we have to use together at a site and apply at a site at a particular structural component. For the design and the use of the FRP materials, the one of the important thing is the orientation of the fibers within the matrix is a key important role. That is how it will be laid up. The FRP is an important criteria. Someone microphone is open. Yes. So it is an important criteria over here. And most important parameter for the infrastructural FRP, the first one is the uniaxial tensile properties having a very high strength and elastic modulus.
Hello.
Hello. Somebody has spoken, sir. There is some instruction, is there? No. Okay, fine. Another is the FRP concrete bond characteristics. Bonding. This bonding is required because the FRP that we are applying externally. Right now I am discussing about the FRP sheet is concerned. When we are applying externally FRP with the concrete, there will be a definite bond is required between the concrete and the FRP sheet. And the third important criteria, that is the durability. Before we proceed for the design aspect, let us start with the one of the fundamental thing, that is the Japanese Society for Civil Engineering in 2001 has been bifurcated the 5 different category of the failure of a structural component, specifically the flexural structural component. If I will use a flexural word, it is associated maybe with a beam of slab. And there is a 5 category has been differentiated by JSCE 2001. And once again I repeat, this is the initiations where this has been categorized. Afterwards, the different course has been used these 5 different categories. The first one is because any kind of design which is based on which kind of the failure which has been done. The failure, which component will fail first, is an important thing for to take or make a design part. The first one is FRP fracturing after scaling. This is the first important failure mode. Now, if I will discuss slightly detailing discuss when we are teaching the subject of design of reinforced concrete structures to our students, we say them one single and simple use word: when any kind of load which will be act on a slab will transfer to a particular beam. Now, when a beam or the load beams on a the load comes on a beam, the basically RCC beam, which is made up of concrete and steel, the load first comes on a concrete. So concrete says us, yes, please welcome, I am enjoyable. Please welcome load, I am enjoyable. Now this load will be transferred to the concrete beam by the 2 different phenomena. That is, the first one That is the compressive stress, and that second is the tensile stress. Third will shear. I will discuss later on that one. But when the load will be resisted by, in this two terminology, after certain stage, after applying some of the stresses, some of the load on a concrete beam, the concrete says, sorry, I am not going to take any kind of much more load as far as the tensile stress is concerned, and it revealed an initial minor cracks will be propagated, and at the same stage the tensile stresses will be transferred to the steel. This is the basic fundamental, all we know as a faculty fraternity. Steel is enjoying tensile stresses, is good in both in compression and steel, but concrete is good in compression, so it will not give to the steel. So what we are dealing with the design is concerned as far as the IS 456. Concrete takes compressive stresses, steel takes tensile stresses, and both having a win-win situation, stand still at one location. Now FRP is already there with a beam at the bottom, because let it if it is a retrofitted. So what happens at certain stage, the steel, the yielding has been reached as far as the tensile strength is concerned, and as per the codal provision, yielding has been started. It will not going to fail. We know that it has a proof of stress, it has a certain more resistance power, but for the design purpose, it has been stopped at yielding point and it will transfer to the FRP. So the tensile stresses has been transferred finally to the FRP. FRP is once again a higher tensile strength, higher elastic modulus, and whole combined together as a beam with the FRP having a winning situations with the carrying of existing loads as the FRP is there. But once again, load is more. Load comes in. FRP has its own carrying capacity. So at certain load, concrete is safe. Concrete is not going to crush first, and after yielding of steel, FRP fracturing takes place, and this is the first case that we are going to discuss. And this is one of the traditional case that generally designer assumes. This is an ideal case where the designer assumes the case number 1. Case number 2. Concrete crushing after steel yields. Once again, taking the same scenario. In the concrete crushing after steel yields, it means that when the load comes to the beam, when the load comes to the beam and steel yields also there, FRP is also taking care the tensile stresses, but FRP is having a more strength we have provided. So FRP is not going to fail, but the concrete crushing with its limitations of compressive stress. Concrete is unhappy with the more compressive stress and it will fail. So that is nothing but concrete crushing after steel yields. Here FRP remains intact as it is. Nothing will be happen to the FRP because FRP that we have provided having a higher capability to take the tensile stresses, and concrete crushing takes place first. The number 1 and number 2 is both more or less we can say having a ductile situation because steel yields are there. Third case, concrete crushing before steel yields. This is a case where steel remains itself intact, FRP remains itself intact, and the concrete crushes first. Concrete crushes first because of inability to take the compressive stresses. So we can say that this is a one kind of the brittle failure as steel and FRP remain as it is. These three cases we already know it. The name itself we know it more or less because we did. If we are not using the FRP, then also we know the concrete crushing after steel, concrete crushing before steel. The fourth and fifth, it is one of the typical and common and dangerous cases for the failure of a structure and the known as the debonding. Debonding, that is deviation from the surface of the concrete and FRP. Delamination. Fracturing is something different and delamination is something different. My FRP remains as it is, and because of some reason the FRP is deviated from the concrete, maybe with concrete cover itself or maybe as an individual FRP is deviated from the concrete surface, and it has been categorized by the two-part debonding of FRP at the anchorage zone. When I use the word as an anchorage zone, we can state that because of the shear, extreme higher shear value, the debonding takes place, and another is mid-span debonding. Mid-span of the beam or slab. Mid-span has been taken care because of the flexural phenomenon. And this mid-span debonding, if the flexural capability and somewhat which happens at the mid-span. So these are the 5 different categories of the failure mode that we had discussed, because based on that we have to proceed. So a conventional compatibility approach can be employed for analyzing the failure mechanism of mode number 1 and 3. Is it repeated? Mode number 1 and 3 can be easily employed, easily can be ensured to carry out the design of a beam or a slab using the mode number 1 to 3 by using the stress and strain diagram of concrete RCC itself using a codal provision. But mode number 4 and mode number 5 are very much important, and the researchers are taking more, shows their interest to the mode number 4 and mode number 5. As mode number 4 is related to the stress concentration at the termination point of the FRP, and this failure can be mitigated in practice by extending the FRP as near as possible to the beam supports, or by installing the U-shaped anchorage system at the ends, FRP ends, to resist normal stress. So the solution more or less has been come through the research, that is installing the U-shaped anchorage system at the end, that is at the support conditions. And mode 5 is the commonly prevalent failure mode, and hence a lot of models has been developed to predict this failure. So once again the researchers are taking more interest in the mode number 5, as there is a chances to carry out a research. Various models or guidelines has been shown over here, and based on that mid-span debonding, interface flexural debonding strain formula has been derived. This is a research based formula. Author or researchers has been given by themselves based on the research. Epsilon FD, that is epsilon FE. The interesting part is what the debonding takes place from the concrete surface to the outside. At that stage, what will be the strain? That strain will be correlated with the numbers of layer, thickness of layer, modulus of elasticity of FRP, and ACI case it has been used the word FDC, that is also the compressive strength of concrete is concerned, and they have derived also the safety factors with that concern. Now, directly I am switching my concern to the certain basic ACI codal provisions try to explain how to start, how to take care of the mode number, that is the failure mode 1, 2 and 3 is concerned right now, and how to carry out the design is concerned. So if we are discussing about the flexural strengthening, there are certain assumptions will be made it out. Assumption that we have already been studied in case of IS 456. These are the assumption has already been taken care with the other codal provision. The first one is failure caused by FRP rupture or concrete crushing. This is the two, FRP rupture or concrete crushing. Plane sections remain plane. As usually we know, perfect bond between steel and concrete as well as FRP and concrete. So in this case, we are assuming that there is no debonding will take care with this assumption, and then we can proceed further for the next one. Adequate anchorage and the development line provided for the FRP. This adequate anchorage, which has been used the word in the sense of there is no and debonding will take care, that is mode 4 will be avoided. FRPs are linear elastic to failure. Interesting and important number fifth phenomenon. If any researchers would like to carry out his research, then this is one of the most important assumptions that he has to or she has to take care, that FRPs are linear elastic behavior to the failure. Even though if we are taking an FRP and if we are going to take the tensile test on that, this kind of behavior more or less will be observed by using a testing machine. While the concrete compressive stress strain curve is parabolic and no strength in tension, obviously the same thing we did in case of IS 446. And initial strain in FRP can be ignored. Why does use the word initial strain? The initial strain word which has been incorporated because we are applying FRP when the structure is there, the component beam is already there at the site, there is something which is happened unusual and we want to provide a re-strengthening. So the initial strain will be there at the stage when we apply an FRP that we are ignoring, then we can go for over here. There are certain resistance factors have been incorporated by the code ACI. We are using the resistance factor in our terminology IS 456 as partial safety factors. So as per that, they have used steel that is of 0.90. What we have taken care? We have taken care a partial safety factor is 1.15 for the steel. If you are remembering, 1.15 means we can say that 0.87 Fy AST. So we are doing Fy divided by 1.15. So we can get 0.87. But here for ACI code is concerned, for building it has been taken care as 0.85, for the bridge which has been taken as 0.9. Similar for the concrete and for the FRP which has been shown over here as far as the ACI code is concerned. Yes, the four potential failure modes which has been considered over here. The first, concrete crushing before steel yields. Steel yielding, concrete crushing before steel yields, that we know it is a brittle failure. Steel yielding followed by concrete crushing. Steel yielding followed by concrete crushing, more or less like the ductility which has been achieved. Steel yielding followed by FRP rupture. Here also the ductility can be achieved at some stage. And the fourth one, the debonding of FRP reinforcement, which has been prevented through special end anchorages. Once again, the word comes over here. Debonding is prevented through special end anchorages. It means that we are not taking care of the word of debonding right now. This is the meaning of the statement as far as the codal provision is concerned. A typical strain distribution diagram and the stress distribution diagram which has been shown over here, and another is equivalent stress distribution diagram has been shown over here. After some slides I am also going to show you as far as the IS 456 is concerned, but right now I am dealing with the ACI 4402R. Latest 2017 is also available on the net, so you can download also. previously 2013, 2008, 2002, various different it is available on the net. So now this is nothing but you just see in the figure. First is the cross-sectional area, when h is the overall height of the section. We can visualize that we have provided the FRP having a width of BFRP, width of FRP. The strain at the FRP has been shown by epsilon FRP, and the strain in the concrete which has been taken care is epsilon C. The stress distribution diagram, which is having a parabolic nature, but we have to convert in terms of equivalent stress distribution diagram, which has been shown over here by incorporating the two different factors alpha 1 and beta 1 correspondingly. So what we are doing, if we haven't applied the FRP, we have to first of all find out the neutral axis depth by comparing the total tension is equal to total compression, that is T is equal to C or C is equal to T. But when we had been applied the word FRP over here, so there will be a tensile forces developed at the location of FRP. It is known as TFRP. So we can say that to find out the neutral axis depth, the Ts plus TFRP is equal to Cc. That is the compressive force in concrete. How to find out Ts? Ts is known as phi s into As into Fs. In our terminology, as we are using the IS 456, I use the word, it is 0.87 Fy-ast. It is here phi s into Fs into As. Now, another one is TFRP, that is the tensile force resisted by FRP. That is phi FRP into AFRP multiplied by modulus of elasticity of FRP and epsilon FRP. So here, instead of using the stress, they have combined, because we know that the modulus of elasticity is equal to stress by strain. So stress is equal to modulus of elasticity multiplied by strain. So same concept has been applied over here, that is the resistance factor, in our word it is partial safety factor, multiplied by the area, multiplied by the modulus, multiplied by the strain. This is TFRP. And Cc, that is the compressive force which has been resisted by concrete, that is nothing but the area of rectangle which has been shown on equivalent stress distribution diagram, and that is nothing but phi c into alpha 1 into alpha dash c, the part for rectangular part, the width into height is of beta 1 c, multiply by the width for beam. Now, if we compare the two things, total tensile force is equal to total compressive force, we can easily obtain the neutral axis depth C by using the string compatibility approach. And the section capacity. Now, if we haven't used the TFRP, so just recall in our what we are doing in case of BRCS, we are using is nothing but Ts multiplied by, that is we can say 0.87 Fy-ast multiplied by the lever arm. Lever arm is nothing but the distance between the compressive force and the tensile force, that is in our case IS 456 is concerned, it is d minus 0.42 xu. But here, as we are using ECI 4402R, the moment of resistance, if we are taking care from the tensile side, then we can say that the contribution for the steel and another is contribution for the FRP. So if we are taking care for the contribution for the steel is concerned, the moment of resistance is equal to Ts multiplied by d minus a by 2, because the centroidal of the compressive force which is acting at the CG plus TFRP bracket H minus A by 2. I wish it will be clear all the guys, and I wish my voice will be clear. I think my voice is clear. So
Yes, sir.
okay, fine, thank you. So now, how to carry out the procedure? So assume we have to failure mode first. Epsilon Cu, that is in our IS 456 as well as ACI 4402 are also, the maximum strain permitted in concrete is 0.0035. that is given to us in both the codes, the same value. So epsilon FRP can be find it out by using the similar triangle rules. If we are using the similar triangle rules, we can also find out the strain in steel. So the equations has been shown over here. And then we have to find out the compressive stress block factors alpha 1 and alpha 2. I'll repeat, this is ACI 4402R codal or guidelines provisions. Repeat, no Indian standard guidelines is available till now. So once again, there is a lot of scope for research to contribute their own research to make some guidelines. So here the alpha 1 factor, that is nothing but 0.85 minus 0.0015 FDC, this must be greater than 0.67 as per the Poodle provision, and beta 1 is equal to 0.97 minus 0.025 FDC. Please bear me here, it is both the criteria must be more than 0.67 that has been forgotten to write down over here. Determine the neutral axis depth. As usual, I discussed in the previous slide, that is by using total tension is equal to total compression. I have to find out the value of the C value, and that C is nothing but the neutral axis depth. And finally, we have to find out the moment of resistance. But before that, we have to find out epsilon FRP. Because we know the epsilon CU, highest value 0.035. We have epsilon FRP by finding out the value, because we know H and C are nothing but the dimensional parameter. H is the total section height, C is the neutral axis depth, epsilon CU is 0.0035. we know. If we find out epsilon FRP from here, and if it is more than the epsilon FRPU, that is the maximum permitted strain in FRP as per given by manufacturer, or what we can do, we have an FRP, we have a testing machine, we can carry out the tensile test on that, we can find it out the value of a strain by using the strain gauge. If this FRP from the calculated value, if it is more than epsilon FRP, then we have to proceed for the next step number C. It means that the FRP fails first. Epsilon FRP is more than the epsilon FRPU. It means that the FRP fails first, concrete intact as it is. If epsilon FRP is less than epsilon RPU, it means that FRP remains intact, and we have to proceed with step number 5. Moment of resistance can be find out by taking, now please here to be important one is that here in the second parameter there will be a contribution, there is a plus sign. The left part, that is AS into FI into phi S, that is a contribution for the steel reinforcement, and the plus on the right hand side, there is a contribution of the FRP side. Here in FRP side we have used the epsilon FRP. Epsilon FRP means the contribution of FRP that has been calculated, not the maximum one. That is the moment of resistance, just like we are doing without FRP. And after calculating the factor moment of resistance, we have to ensure that the internal cell yields to ensure adequate deformability. What does it mean? In the previous slide, we find that FRP remains intact because epsilon FRP is less than epsilon FRPU, that is the maximum possible deformation or strain available in FRP, and actually is lesser than that one. It means that FRP won't fail first. It means that the concrete fail first, but we have to ensure that the strain in steel must be more than epsilon Fy, because if epsilon S that we find out is more than epsilon Fy, it is says that deformability has been assured, ductility is somewhat has been assured, safety of the people who remains inside equipment in the building remains ensured. But if it is no, that means that epsilon S is less than epsilon Y. It means that still having remains intact position. It is not going to use the full utilization. In simple layman word, when load comes to a beam or slab, concrete fails, but reinforcement remain as it is, suddenly failure if the epsilon s is less than epsilon y. So in that case, we have to reduce FRP. Once again, recalculate the whole procedure. Step number 6. In this case, the epsilon FRP, which is more than epsilon FRPU, there is a certain limitation of FRP. There is some limitations of the strain in FRP. So in that case, we have to use the maximum value, because epsilon FRP actually is more than epsilon FRPU. So we never accepted the more value. So we have to take an equal value. We can't go beyond that. And here the epsilon C is less than epsilon CU. So concrete doesn't fail because of the compressive stresses, but here the FRP fails first. FRP fails first. That is, FRP make a rupture. And once again, the sequential way we have to find out the value of C. Please bear me here. The epsilon value we have to use is epsilon FRPU instead of epsilon RP. And then we have to find out the moment of resistance by incorporating the word of maximum strain in FRP. But here also we have to find out epsilon C, that must be less than epsilon CU so that the concrete doesn't. The factor of moment of resistance can be found out by the same equations that we discussed. Only one change is there. We have to use epsilon FRPU, not epsilon FRP. Means we have to use ultimate strain in FRP. That we have to use in this equation. I wish you have understand the detailed thorough phenomenon which has been given in the ACI code to find out the value of moment of resistance of a section with FRP. Similar analysis procedure if we have added the compression reinforcement. So if in this figure there is no compression reinforcement is there, but here the compression reinforcement is there. The next slide, just for 1 minute. Here the compression reinforcement which has been shown over here. What we are doing for singly reinforced section and for doubly reinforced section, similar over here. This is the case of doubly reinforced section where there is a compression steel which has been shown over here, that has been put up over here, and there is a contribution also involved over here that has to be incorporated while analysis procedure. It has been shown by the two different forces. Now, before we proceed further, it is my intentions to show some basic minutely calculations, and then we will proceed further. So many existing concrete beams in buildings, bridges, and parking garages have suffered severe deterioration as a consequence of corrosion of reinforcing steel within the concrete, which can lead to cracking, swelling, and eventually failure. So, make an effort to repair these deteriorated concrete structures. Engineers are now turning to FRP as an alternative to steel. So here there is an important to go for design procedure. Instead of providing randomly the FRP, we have to carry out the design procedure with very simple case problem which has been taken here. Some microphone is open, please. Some microphone is open. Mr. Nirav, microphone is open. Please be careful. The concrete beam shown to the right was originally built with the 310 mm diameter steel reinforcing bar and with the cross-sectional purpose as shown in the figure. So you just show that this is a typical original constructions of the beam which has been shown over here. Since its original construction, the reinforcing steel has been corroded. And it has been found out with certain provisions that the diameter of the steel reinforcing bar has been reduced to only 7.5 mm. So diameter has been reduced from 10 mm to 7.5 mm. It is proposed to strengthen the beam by bonding carbon FRP sheet at the bottom of its bottom face. The carbon FRP sheets are 5 mm thick and having an elastic modulus 120 gigapascal. The modulus of elasticity of concrete is 25,000 megapascal, that is 25 GPa, and that of the steel of 2 into 10 raised to 5 megapascal, that is 200 GPa. If the beam was originally designed to carry an applied moment of 17.5 kilonewton into meter is the applied moment. What we have to determine? We have to determine what is the bending stress in the original design and what kind of the stress will be there if the beam will be repaired. For the first one, simple our strategy. For the original beam is concerned, the area can be easily find out. We know the procedure and modular ratio can be find out ES by EC is concerned. So we can say that the area of steel can be transformed into the equivalent area of concrete by multiplying the modular ratio. We can find out AST is equal to N into E. We must account for the fact that the concrete is ineffective in tension as per the Coral cohesion. So an equivalent diagram which has been shown over here. So effective area of the cross section has been shown over here. That is the concrete we have to taken care only compression and the below mentioned EST which is used to take care tension. So we have to find out the first of all the centroidal, that is a neutral axis, and for that we have to find out the Y bar. That Y bar has been found out, though if we see the previous slide, just check it out, neutral axis depth we have to find out H dash. H dash has been found out with the simple CG formula, that is A1 Y1 plus A2 Y2 divided by A1 plus A2, and by solving the simple procedure we can able to find out the value of H dash is approximately 60 mm. It's a simple numerical calculation. Now, as we know that our intention is to find out bending stress, that is, we know that M over I is equal to F over Y or sigma over Y. So F is equal to M over I into Y. We have to find out the I, amount of inertia. Amount of inertia can be find out by perpendicular axis theorem 1 by 12 BH cube plus A into dx square. Using this one, we can able to find out the value of I, and finally we concluded that the F, that is the sigma, that is the stress, bending stress in the transformed steel reinforcement, we can arrive at 40 megapascal. So for the original cross section is concerned, the maximum bending stress in the steel reinforcement is 40 megapascal. With this calculation we had been defined because moment is known to us, we know the value of Y, we know the value of I, and we can easily find out. So let us recall the answer, that is maximum value of stress is of 40 megapascal. So to get the actual maximum bending stress in the steel reinforcement, we must multiply by the modular ratio by multiply by 8, we can get 240 megapascal. But as we have to multiply with the hello, microphone is open, someone's microphone is open, please mute it out. So we can find out the sigma as maximum is equal to 40 megapascal. Now let us be case for the next where the strengthening which has been applied. Case the figure which has been shown over here. Here the typical case is that we just visualize that H dash that we have to find out the neutral axis depth. 250 and 300 are the corresponding total height is available. If you go better way to understand, to take the original figure, the total height is available 300 mm. 50 mm is the effective cover which has been there. So if we see the next slide, it has been visualized that from the distance between the top fiber to the center of the reinforcement is 250 mm, while the distance from the FRP to the top fiber is of 300 mm. Now let us get to now just see over here. Same, the modular ratio is same, ES by EC is 8, and we can find out area of steel. Here it has been reduced because of the corrosion or whatsoever, the diameter has been reduces. So radius is equal to diameter by 2. We find out the area of steel. Now for the FRP sheet, if we find out the modular ratio, that is nothing but the EFRP divided by EC, and it will find out is 4.8. So for FRP, if we have to transform the area, we can get the modular ratio times the thickness multiplied by the 200 that is available width, and we can get AFRP is equal to 4800 mm square. So area of steel can be found out by using the modular ratio has been shown over here. Here also we can find out the neutral axis depth as of the 105 mm by using the centroidal formula, and we can find out the value of moment of inertia by using the axis theorem as shown over here in the slide. So here we can say that the value of sigma, that is the value of stress, can be found out M over I into Y as 9.48 megapascal. By multiplying the modular ratio, we can achieve it is of 76 megapascal. So we can say that the bending stress in the steel in the repair construction is substantially than the original construction. So by using the value of FRP, by applying the retrofitting technique, there will be a substantial reduction in the stress which will be taken care in the steel, that is has been reduced, has been shown as 76 megapascal. So this is the one of the strategy. A very simple brief example has been stated to elaborate you that how the repair technology can induce the effect on the other parameter. Now slightly discussed IS 456. In case of IS 456, nothing has been discussed about the FRP is concerned, which is broadly categorized for only the steel and reinforcement RCC beam is concerned, and we know all the phenomenon which has been given. Now, if we want to add the as far as Indian scenario is concerned FRP, we have to just apply at the bottom of the FRP over here. Here only tactics that we have to apply is the resistance factor or the partial safety factors, and also another important parameter for that, the input parameters, modulus of elasticity as well as the strain. We know all these things, how to find out the section capacity. But when you apply the FRP, the scenario goes change. One simple problem statement, and the moment of resistance can be calculated with the IS 456. Here there is no FRP which has been given to you. This is a purely based off IS 456 calculation, and we can find out the moment. The same problem with the FRP which has been applied, what happens, we will discuss to the next slide. Now, basis of FRP design. The main important thing is that it provides the secondary reinforcement to improve flexure, shear and compressive strength. Repeat, secondary reinforcement. The primary reinforcement which has already been provided by incorporating the reinforcement inside the concrete. Also, it ensures the failure mode remains the type that these insurance has been given by us, by designer, that there should be the steel has to fail first. The steel has to first of all ensure to achieve the yield strength, and the loss of reinforcing in fire will not result in collapse of structure. This is very interesting parameter. This is a part of durability parameter, because whenever the fire will be catch up, the FRP is losing its strength drastically. So the increase of the strength of any kind of section, that depends on the choice of fiber, that which fiber, carbon fiber, glass fiber, or any other that we have been taken care. Second number, numbers of layer. If it is a column, we are going for 1 layer, 2 layer, or maybe a beam for flexure, 1 layer, 2 layer, we has been gone. Width, breadth to width ratio, dimensions of the structure, radius of corner, grade of existing concrete, proper anchoring to avoid debonding phenomenon. So these all are affect the factors, the strength on factors. The same problem that which we had been shown in the previous video has been shown over here. So before I proceed further, I would like to show you the same problem. Now just visualize that a beam having a width of 105 mm and the depth of 350 mm, with the effective depth of 325 mm which has been given us, and the three numbers of 10 mm diameter bar which has been shown in the figure, where the properties of the steel and the concrete has been shown. And we find out the neutral axis depth is of 48 mm. As this we all do together, we know the procedure, and we find out the moment of resistance with the simplest of and that is nothing but 25 kilonewton into meter. By putting all the values we can achieve. Let we apply FRP at the bottom. Here it has been shown that the area of FRP has been shown 60 mm square. Epsilon FRPU has been given in the data by the party is 125%, and the EFRP, that is the modulus of elasticity of FRP, is 155 gigapascal. Now, our intention is to find out the moment of resistance of a particular section. Now, the same problem if I will solve, because there is no Indian standard guidelines, so I have to use any other. Assume the failure of the beam due to crushing of concrete in the compression after yielding of internal steel reinforcement. The important thing is that the yielding of internal steel reinforcement we have to keep first to ensure ductility. Step number 2, calculate the concrete stress block factors alpha 1 and alpha 2 as far as ACI code is concerned. For that alpha 1, with the given formula, we can find out it as 0.78, which is more than 0.67, and the beta 1 value has been found out as 0.86 respectively. The depth of neutral axis C, with the formula which has been explained earlier, that is total compressive force is equal to total tensile force. Total compressive force is equal to the tensile force because of steel plus tensile force because of FRP, and by putting all the values, our unknown parameters is the neutral C, and all the things which has been given to us has been put up over here, and finally we can find out the C, which is as 90.5 mm. Check the failure mode. The very interesting point here, we have to ensure the failure mode. We have to check the failure mode by finding out the important thing, epsilon FRP, that is the strain in FRP. The maximum value of strain in FRP has been given, that is ultimate strain in FRP has been given as 0.0155, and find out epsilon FRP with the given data, because epsilon CU, that is the ultimate strain in concrete as per ACI 440, has been given as 0.0035. So we have been find out epsilon FRP is 0.01, which is less than epsilon FRPU. It means that FRP doesn't fail first. Therefore, FRP rupture does not occur and assumed failure mode is correct. So here we have to find out the important thing is epsilon S to check the ductility. So to promote the ductility, we have to check the steel. That the steel has yielded first. For that we have to find out the value of epsilon S with the given formula, but it is simple as much as that is nothing but the similar triangle rules is that apply and find out it is 0.009, which is more than 0.002. It means that the ductility can be ensured. The steel has not yielded, the beam failure could be expected less ductile, and we would need to carefully check the deformability of the member. Moment of resistance can be find out as the equation. Would like to bear me over here, because epsilon S that we find out is 0.009, which is more than 0.00y. It means that the ductility has been ensured over here. So something goes wrong over here, which has been written. We have to find out the moment of resistance with the all input data which has been shown over here, and we find out the value moment of resistances of 50.9 kilonewton into meter, because the second parameter has been added by the application of FRP. So we can say that there will be a 65% increase, the more strength than the no application of FRP. So the 65% the strength will be enhanced by application of FRP on the beam. Now, if we think about the shear strengthening, I am taking a very simplest example. I am not going to detail that because shear strengthening has a big detail part. Next, column strengthening is also detailed. That application of the strengthening design is concerned. If we take care, if any structure which has a very lesser strength and how it has been retrofitted, how the design has been clarified, once again is a depth study phenomenon is there. So there is a lot of scope of study is involved over here. Slightly taken a shear strengthening, then FRP shears can be applied to provide shear resistance, and there are so many possible shown in the figure. There is an inclined strips at angle of 45 which has been placed near the corner, because the shear cracks more or less has been taken care at the place of corner at an angle of 45 degrees. So the shear strengthening can be applied by providing the FRP sheet at certain angle. So it may be applied in continuous sheets in the finite width also. We can apply the continuous sheets in the finite width also. So if we go ahead slightly addition to this, the additional factor to consider over here is FRP anchorage and development length that has to be studied. Deflection and the crack width has also to be studied along with the design consideration. Vibration, crypts are also governing parameter. If we say we are not applying the FRP, the load versus deflection has been shown over here. But if we apply the one layer of FRP, the load versus deflection for a beam has been shown a typical way shown in the graph. And as with 3 layers the FRP is there, we can say that the deflection, the maximum deflection is reduced. So I can say the brittle slightly involvement of the brittle failure, but the load carrying capacity is drastically enhanced. So all these things has been taken care while we are designing the things. So right now in the today's session, we are keeping ourselves restricted over here with the design concept. More people can be elaborated by studying the more codal provisions. As codal provisions more or less it is open resources are available. But even though you find difficulty for any of the resources, you can directly contact me as and when possible. I will free. I'm going to share that resources, the codal provisions with you, and you can develop your own certain guidelines also with by carry out the testing work by involving yourself by the modeling case, as modeling has also been important phenomenon for the concrete with FRP is concerned. If you apply the FRP for a beam for the flexural strengthening or maybe a shear strengthening or for a column, the different what can I say, the softwares are available. And as far as myself is concerned, if I know the basic two different software are very easy and important for a researcher that can use is the Athena and another is Abacus. Both are because in this using these two software, lots of good journal papers which has been available on elsewhere, and AC journal papers is available for using these two software. Some of the are also available using ANSYS. But these three are the typical software where you can carry out the modeling work of concrete. So you can do the testing as well as you can do the modeling work together, and by applying the numerical calculation by codal provisions will give you a good research work in this case. We touch up to the durability concern of the FRP, as there is a greater chance to carry out the study in durability is concerned, as this is an open source for the durability is concerned. The what is durability? It is nothing but the ability of an FRP material to resist cracking, oxidation, chemical degradation, delamination, wear, and or the effect of foreign object damage for a specified period of time under the appropriate load conditions under specified environmental conditions. Very broad definition of durability is concerned. Now, when we discuss about structural component with the FRP is concerned, I can say that concrete itself is a composite material. But even though if I consider concrete as a one material, the reinforcement provided inside is another material, and third one FRP that we provide as a third another material. Even though FRP is itself a one kind of composite material, but even though if I consider this different material, then we have to think individual durability criteria. How this FRP behaves, because we are joining this FRP with the concrete. The data on the durability of the FRP material is limited, as it appears contradictory in some cases, because some of the research papers say something about some material while the other research papers are saying something on the same material. The reason is here manufacturing process, fabrication process, different forms of FRP. So FRP used in civil engineering applications are substantially different from those used in aerospace industry. So the durability cannot be assumed to be the same in all the places. Now, environments is concerned, all engineering materials are subject to the mechanical and physical deterioration with the time, load, and exposure to various harmful environments. So FRP materials are generally considered as very durable compared to concrete and are less susceptible to degradation than many conventional construction materials. These are the general terminology. And this is also the comparison one is there. So the factors which affects the FRP durability performance are matrix and the fiber type. It's obvious that which matrix has been used and which fiber has been used. The relative portions of the constituent, the manufacturing process, installation procedure, and also the short-term loading, long-term loading, and exposure conditions will affect the FRP's durability. So what we are discussing right now, the effect of FRP under moisture and marine environment, effect under alkalinity and corrosion, under the effect of heat and fire, under cold and fusion cycling. What will be the effect in the ultraviolet radiation condition? Also, if we consider the physical effect, what happens to the creep and fatigue condition is there, as fatigue is nothing but the cyclic loading and creep is nothing but the sustained load. If we are started with the first and important criteria, that is the moisture and marine exposure, the FRPs are not susceptible to electrochemical corrosion like steel, like reinforcement bar. As corrosion of steel is conventional structure results in severe degradation, but however, terms and conditions apply. Now the word is important. FRPs are not immune to the potentially harmful effects of moist and marine environment. We cannot say that it has an immune, nothing will happen. We cannot say this kind of word. Some FRP materials have been observed to deteriorate under prolonged exposure to the moist environment, and evidence linking the rate of degradation to the rate of absorption of fluid into the polymer matrix. So, the polymer matrix which has been taken care, which will take the part of the play again with the moisture. So all polymers will absorb moisture. The important thing, depending on the chemistry of the specific polymer involved, can cause reversible or irreversible physical, thermal, mechanical or chemical changes. So it is important to recognize that results, the things which can be derived from the laboratory testing, are not necessarily indicative of performance in the field in case of durability is concerned with the FRP. Now, the selected factors affecting the moisture's absorption, these the enlisted the different factors which will affect the absorption in the FRP, and one of that is the type and concentration of liquid, type of polymer and fiber, fiber resin interface characteristics, manufacturing or application method, ambient temperature, applied stress level, extent of pre-existing damage, and the presence of protective coatings. These are the factors which will affect the moisture absorption in FRP. So, we can say that for moisture absorption concern, it is the plasticization of the matrix caused by interruptions of the van der Waals forces bonding between the polymer chain, which will reduce the matrix strength, modulus of elasticity, reduction, strain at failure, toughness are reduced. So, substantial reduction matrix dominated properties, and that is specifically bond, shear, flexure, and stiffness, may also affect the longitudinal tensile strength and stiffness. It also causes the swelling of the matrix, and that causes irreversible damage to matrix, cracking, and fiber matrix debonding. One typical curve which has been obtained from the research, that with respect to time, the strength reduction can be shown that with respect to time, the strength will be reduced because of the moisture's absorption under moisture and marine exposure. Even though the lab study shows no strength reduction, it means further research needed in this case. There is a scope. Now, another thing is that one typical microscopic view has been shown that moisture absorption that created the micro cracking of polymer matrix in GFRP has been shown. Now, if we categorize, now we discuss about the polymer matrix is concerned, but what will be the effect of the fiber? because of the moisture that's been shown over here. But for the glass fiber, the moisture penetration of the fibers may extract the ions from the fiber and results in stitching and pitting and can cause deterioration of tensile strength and elastic modulus, while for the carbon fibers that do not appear to be affected by exposure of moist environment. While in case of carbon fibers, it can result in palpitation, swelling of the fibers and reductions in the compressive shear and the bond properties. So we can say about the I can say the word matrix is concerned. FRP can be protected against moisture absorption by appropriate selection of matrix materials coatings. If we take a vinyl ester, the currently considered the best for the use of preventing moisture effects in infrastructural composites, and epoxy is also the same as vinyl ester. For the polyester, the available research suggests that it has a poor performance. So we discussed the first and important criteria about the moisture and the effect of moisture with respect to the FRP. Another criteria, let us discuss about the alkalinity and corrosion. We know very well pH level is more than 11. It is to be treated as highly alkaline, and if what happens, that level will be there in the concrete. It becomes very much important for the internal FRP reinforcement application within the concrete. If we say about the GFRP is concerned, here FRP reinforcement, it means the bar reinforcement is, see the one image is over here. Here the pH is more than 11, so it will damage the glass fiber. Depends on the protection by matrix level of applied stress temperature. This degradation mechanism, alkaline solution prevailing inside the concrete, and if we have inside there is a beam, there is a GFRP bar, it causes embrittlement of the fibers that reduces in the tensile properties and damage at the fiber resin interface. So the effect of alkaline environment on fibers for E-glass fibers is concerned, the strength will be reduced up to 75% of the initial values. For the AR glass fiber, there will be significant improvement because of alkaline environment, but it is costly product. For the hermit fibers, having up to 50% reduction in the strength, and for the carbon fibers it is up to the reduction of the strength. But once again, this both carbon and the hermit need further research because lesser data available. Now another corrosion words is over here, but one associated word is galvanic corrosion. What is exactly that, the galvanic corrosion? Let us understand the first word. What is galvanic corrosion? It is nothing but the accelerated corrosion of a metal due to electrical contact with non-metallic conductor in corrosive environment. As we know that any FRP itself, it is non-corrosive, but if any metal which is already corroded and it is comes to the contact of this non-metallic conductor, then there will be certain things will be happen. It is known as galvanic corrosion. As the first statement has been written that the FRPs are not susceptible to electrochemical corrosion, but the certain FRPs can contribute to increase the corrosion of metal component through galvanic corrosion. So just see the image over here. So guarding against the galvanic corrosion is very much important because CFRP should not be permitted to come into the direct contact with the steel or aluminum in structure. So in the first day, third session, I have shown some of the case studies. I have shown some of the discussion of the cases where the bridges has been casted using the FRP bars with the steel bars. In all the cases, the case study, the GFRP bars has been used along with the reinforcement. They haven't used the CFRP bar because CFRP bar, which is having a problem of galvanic corrosion when it will be contact to the reinforcement is concerned, steel reinforcement is concerned. So for the internal reinforcement is concerned, we have to place a plastic spacer between the steel and FRP bars as shown over here. This is the spacer is there. That spacer is nothing but a plastic one, so that the steel bars and the CFRP doesn't come into contact. For the external strengthening is concerned, we have to apply a thin layer of epoxy of GFRP sheet between the CFRP and steel, as shown in the image. The third and important parameter of the durability aspect, that is the high temperature. For FRP, that is the fiber reinforced polymer, maybe in terms of reinforcement is concerned, maybe in terms of sheet is concerned, the fire and the temperature are always the problematic. So we have to study a detailed depth as far as the temperature and fire is concerned. FRP materials are now widely used for reinforcement, that is inside the concrete, as well as for the rehabilitation of the bridges and other outdoor structures. Yet for the building application is quite comparatively low in comparison with the bridges, but these FRP materials are susceptible to an elevated temperature and the several concerns associated with their behavior during the fire on the high temperature service environments. So extremely difficult to make generalization regarding the high temperature behavior, as large number of possible fiber matrix combinations, manufacturing methods and applications are prevailing in the market at the site. We are using one terminology, that is glass transition temperature. Why? Because the FRPs used in the infrastructure applications suffer degradation of mechanical and the bond properties, that is the temperature exceeding the high glass transition temperature. What is the glass transition temperature? It is the midpoint of the temperature range over which an amorphous material, maybe a glass or high polymer, changes from brittle state to rubbery state. This has been definition has been given in ACI 440. All organic polymer material combust at the higher temperature, and most metric polymers release the large quantities of dense, black and toxic smoke. So the potential problems of the FRP under fire, so you just see the image, the beam is there, reinforcement is there, and applied of the fire is there. That will be sudden and severe loss of the bond at a temperature more than Tg. Tg is nothing but glass transition temperature. Now, external FRP strengthening, the FRP which has been applied externally, that is beyond the beam application. So you can see that here also, if the temperature is more than Tg, that is glass only temperature, it is too thin for self-insulating layers, and there will be also loss of bond. So it is very much important that critical temperature commonly taken to be Tg for the polymer matrix, and it is a range of just 65 degree to 120 degrees centigrade. It's a very lesser temperature. There is a chances of degradation, and hence generally the FRP which has been provided to avoid directly sun or the places where there will be chances of fire. So, exceeding Tg results in severe degradation of matrix dominated properties such as transverse and shear strength and stiffness. Longitudinal properties will also affect the Tg. So, tensile strength reductions as high as 80% can be expected in the fiber direction at temperature at only 300 degree centigrade. So important that FRP component not to be exposed to a temperature close to or above the TG during the normal range of operation. So if we compare the three things, carbon fiber, glass fiber and aramid fibers, so for the carbon fibers, there is a no degradation in the strength and stiffness up to 1000 degrees centigrade, but for the glass fiber, there will be a substantial degradation up to 60% at 600 degrees centigrade. For the aramid fibers, it is up to 300 degrees centigrade. And remember, this is fibers is concerned, but FRP is a combination of fiber and polymer matrix. So polymer matrix is more susceptible at lesser temperature. A typical curve has been shown over here, a correlation between the percentage room temperature value versus the temperature value, and the three different graphs has been shown over here. It can be visualized that beyond less than the 100 degree means approximately 60 to 70 degree, there is a critical temperature. T is more than Tg. There will be a substantial loss in the average bond strength in comparison with the elastic and the tensile modulus, but because of the bond strength has been reduced, the other strength can also be reduced. The another factor, that is another durability factor, after the temperature, that is the fire, the next is the cold temperature. What will be the effect of the cold temperature on the FRP? That let us need to understand. For the cold temperature, there is a potential for the damage due to low temperature, and thermal cycling must be considered in the outdoor application. So freezing and freezing train cycle may affect the durability, because the changes that occur in the behavior of component materials at a lower temperature and differential thermal expansion between the polymer matrix and fiber components has to be taken care. Also, this differential thermal expansion between concrete and the FRP material, which has to be taken care. So here two different things we have to take care: freeze and thaw cycle with respect to concrete and FRP, as well freeze and thaw cycle with respect to polymer matrix and the fiber component. So this could result in damage to the FRP or to the interface between the FRP components and the other materials. So that exposure to a structure to a sub-zero temperature may result in residual stresses in FRP due to matrix stiffening and differences between the fibers and matrix that creates micro cracking, and the fiber matrix bond will be degraded. That may affect the FRP. The effect of FRP means the strength, stiffness, dimensional stability, fatigue resistance, moisture absorption, resistance to alkalinity. So increase of freeze and thaw cycle increase the severity of matrix crack. That leads to increase in matrix brittleness. That creates the decreased of tensile strength. But however, the effect on the FRP properties appear to be minor in most of the infrastructural applications. Repeat the word. If infrastructural applications with the FRP is having a slightly different behavior than the individual component is concerned. The another durability parameter is ultraviolet radiation. As we know, the ultraviolet radiation, specifically when the product or the FRP which has been applied or exposed to the sun, this is the one of the case, that damages most polymer matrices, and the effect of UV on aramid fibers is significant. Glass and carbon fibers are insignificant. Thus, the potential use of ultraviolet degradation is important when the FRPs are exposed to direct sunlight. So, photodegradation means the ultraviolet radiation within a certain specific wavelength breaks chemical bond between the polymer chains and resulting in dislocation, sulfur oxidation, microcracking of the matrices, and hence this ultraviolet which can create the cause of stress concentration may lead to premature failure. Also, it increases the susceptibility to damage from alkalinity and moisture. So combined effect of ultraviolet and moisture on FRP bars. Bars means reinforcement is concerned. For CFRP, the tensile strength reduction is up to 20%, while GFRP, the tensile strength reduction is up to 40%. We can do the protection of FRP from UV radiation by applying coatings, by applying sacrificial surfaces, by applying UV resistant paints, and etc. The another durability concerns which is about the creep and creep rupture. Question may arise, what is creep? We know the creep behavior as far as the concrete is concerned, but if we can say specifically for the FRP is concerned, so it is the behavior of material when or where is an increase in the strain is observed with a time under constant level of stress. If we are taking a certain example, if a steel is there, if we applied a load P, but with respect to time, the blinking of time is there, it means that the problem with respect to time, and if the P is equal to P, L is L1, this is the ideal condition. This is, it can be say there is no effect of creep is over here with respect to time is concerned if P is equal to P and L is equal to L1. But if we take a steel reinforcement and this is the P force has been applied, the length is L1. Now the application of time factor, time passes out, and in this case P is P. It means that the load is applied constantly with respect to time, but length is greater than L1. Length will be increased as shown in the image. This is nothing but the effect of creep. Now, which kind of the effect of creep which has been observed as far as the FRP is concerned? Now, another terminology is relaxation. It is reduction in the stress in a material with the time at a constant level of strain. The similar kind of analogy which has been shown over here, the steel is that length is L1, and if we say with respect to time P is P and L is L1, ideal condition. But in another similar situation, the steel, the force is length is L1 and the blinking is that time has been gone off. The force length is remains same at is even though P is greater than P1. This is the situation is to be called terminology is relaxation. So effect of creep on the performance of FRP can be said that the fibers are relatively insensitive to the creep in absence of other harmful durability factor, but matrices are highly sensitive to the creep as they are chemicals. So creep is potentially important for FRP because loads must be transferred through the FRP. So for the good performance under sustained load, we have to use an appropriate matrix material. We have to take care during the fabrication and curing processes. So the creep behavior of different FRP material is complex and that depends on specific constituents in fabrication. It depends on the type, direction and the level of the loading applied. It depends on the exposure to the other durability factors such as alkalinity, moisture, thermal exposure. The important thing is that there are a few standard test methods for creep testing for FRP material, but it's difficult to make generalized things about the FRP for the grip performance is concerned. Now, under certain conditions, creep can result in rupture of FRP as sustained load levels and that are significantly less than ultimate. So, this is called a stress rupture, another name is creep rupture, another name is stress corrosion. So, the creep rupture or stress corrosion is influenced largely by the types of the fibers susceptible to the alkaline environment, specifically the glass FRP in particular. So, the creep rupture stress limits the FRP reinforcing bar is concerned, there will be a reduction up to 55% for GFRP and 93% will be in case of CFRP. So I will repeat the word here. Because of the different papers reading has been observed that the laboratory testing is not necessarily a representation of the field performance, because creep rupture is with respect to the time, and time is in terms of years is quite difficult to same thing which has been taken care for laboratories. The fatigue, that is nothing but the we know the meaning. It is application of repeated cycles of loading and unloading conditions. And this may arise because of the traffic and other moving load. This may be because of thermal effect. This may be because of wind induced or mechanical. So fatigue performance of the most of the FRPs is as good as or better than steam. Good fatigue performance of FRP that depends on toughness of matrix, ability of resist of cracking. Also, the performance of FRP under fatigue load for CFRP is best, but the AFRP it is excellent. The important note, please switch on the matrix. Fatigue performance of FRP reinforced concrete appears to be best when the GFRP reinforcement is used. Reduction factors. The reduction factors is generally nothing but the numerous factors exist that can potentially affect the long-term durability of FRP materials in civil engineering and constructions applications, as durability factors remains incompletely understood. So reduction factors in existing design codes and recommendations, which is applied to the normal stress and strain capabilities of FRP. Also, it limits the usable ranges of stress and strain. There are certain codes, there are certain agencies that has been published the product certification document. It means that if some of the company has been manufactured the FRP bars or sheets, and then in that case there are certain agencies will be there at America, maybe in Canada, maybe at British, that are specifically they have certain certification available. That is the specification for the product certification for fiber reinforced cooling loss. So the test methods has been given for the quantitatively defining the durability of FRP reinforcing bars for concrete, and they had been classified the categories as far as the reinforcement is D1 category, D2 category, etc. So from that it has been classified with respect to durability. Field evaluation of FRP. It is very much important here thing that will be there are many methods are there to investigate the durability performance for FRP reinforcement, like optical, microscopic. It is the visual examination, the interference between the FRP reinforcing bar and the concrete specifically. I'm not that much going to depth over here. SEM is of category, that is also a one kind of visual examination. If I can say that if we are going for our X-ray, if something will be happen to a bone and X-ray has been taken care, and the doctor will see that X-ray, and from that he will judge. Similarly, the structural engineer or specifically the person who is knowing thoroughly about this will visualize these images and will say the effect of durability. Another is energy dispersive X-ray analysis. Another one is infrared spectroscopy. Next is differential scanning and calorimetry. These are the words for the using to determine the glass transition temperature. So the durability performance of FRP materials is generally very good in comparison with the other or more conventional constructional materials, but even though they need more detailed research to clarify the long-term effect of durability. So we can say that for the moisture is concerned, the effects of under-cure and or incomplete cure of polymer matrix need more research. Effect of continuous versus intermittent exposure to moisture when bonded to concrete. Similarly, some of the parameters for the alkalinity is needs research, like determination of rational and defensible standard alkaline solution and alkalinity testing protocols and database of the durability information. These all are the things which needs more research. Similarly, for the fire is concerned, requires detailed depth research and research database. For the fatigue is also need more research. So finally, I am winding out over here my final slides with the thank you, with my sharing the views related to the basic conceptual with respect to the design, specifically design part for the flexures that has been touched up, and some of the part which has been I have touched up with the concern of specifically I can say that with the durability is concerned. So if you have any kind of questions, please raise over here in the chat box or using the Telegram group. If you have any questions, you may ask the question, please. Sir, one question is one question is there. Is there any other applications of FRP other than the retrofitting? Definitely, for the non-structural component, there is a wider variety of FRP applications are there, and India it is also uses the non-structural application is concerned. However, the structural application is concerned, the FRP reinforcement is already there that we have to insert inside the concrete, just like the reinforcement of steel, we have to use FRP bar is concerned. Also, the surface mounted FRP reinforcement and sheets are also there. That part of study is also there. And from the last of 20 years, the researchers or the construction industries are doing that particular work in that direction. So retrofitting is a one kind, is not only the retrofitting, the other parts are also there. Waiting for the questions. If you have, please share. Is FRP sheets is better than steel plates? Definitely, sir. The steel, because steel is heavy. This is the first important thing. Second thing, if we compare the steel versus FRP, steel is flexible. At any place we can place it out. Third thing, at any place we can place it out. At the steel place we can't bend. And if it is a heavy, it requires so many persons to lift it out. But if we can see it is concerned, we can lift a single person and go ahead. So definitely with respect to the steel plates, the FRP is definitely commendable. Also, we can join with the epoxies, but how can join with the steel with the concrete? With our traditional method, we have to join. Next question is that, is it possible to make FRP of our own specification, or it is to be purchased? It is possible to make FRP of our own specification. Actually, FRP, this belongs to two parts. The first one, fiber. If I will say, if I am understanding the question, then you are asking about the weight layup system. And weight layup system, the two different things are available in the market. The first is the FRP sheet, just like cloth. I have wearing this shirt. Similar kind of cloth is available in the market, maybe of carbon FRP, maybe of glass FRP. Another is chemical. The polymer resin matrix is also available in the market, is a different segment. That two things together, we have to use it all. So it is our choice that we have to carry out a design that we required one layer, two layer, what is the width is required. That depends on the design concept, and we can apply it. On the basis of economy, which is better? Definitely right now FRP is better economical, because the steel, if we are say only the manufacturing is conditions, it is not applicable, because we have to take at the site, we have to take a layman is concerned, we have to application is concerned. Definitely FRP is economic. Steel plates has been used before 30 years. Now it is very rare application is there. Next question is, how much percentage of stiffness can be improved in different cross section using FRP? Percentage of stiffness. Sir, in this case, the calculation is required. Single sitting, we cannot say abruptly this much percentage or this much percentage, but definitely percentage wise, more or less, we can say that for any case, the strength I'm using instead of stiffness, the strength more than 50% can be achieved if you go with the CFRP sheet is concerned. Any more questions? Fine. No more questions over here. So at the fourth day, I'm handling the situations. Is there any questions? No, there is no question. Huh?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I would like to say something. I would like to thank you for the nice presentation that you have made. You have given a very good explanation about FRP, and the way you have handled the question, it was very good. It was very much informative. So I'd like to thank you for the wonderful information that you have given to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Can you state your name, please?
Sir, Sandeep Chandresh.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much, sir. Is there any question, please? If you have a doubt, please ask the question. There is no question. So, fine. There is a certain instructions which has been given right now. It is kindly requested that my colleague has sent an email to the personal faculty members, those who has not submitted the quiz. This is the first one. Kindly request those who has not submitted, please submit it. Second thing, tomorrow is the last day for us for this particular FDP is concerned. We have two sessions and there will be one quiz is there. Quiz is of right now, it is only 20 marks is concerned, has been reduced because we have taken everyday quiz 15, 15, 15, 15, 60 marks, 15 into 4, 60 marks plus 20, 80 marks is there overall. So tomorrow 20 marks is quiz. Out of 80 marks, whatever we got the marks, we can upload it out on a platform of Atal. So our team, if saying that we are not able to identify, please cooperate us, please shows your original email address, please give us through Telegram group, through mail, so that we can identify you. Our aim is to help you only. We are sitting over here to help you only. So I kindly request you to help us, because we have to tomorrow upload your presence, we have to upload the marks, and along with that, after completion, on the Atal link, the feedback form is going to open in your login. I will repeat, in your login. You have to fill up the feedback in that. So the three things together: attendance, second is marks, and your feedback. Within 24 hours, a certificate will be generated in your login. You have to download it out. This is the procedure of Atal is concerned. Moreover, if you find of any kind of difficulty, you can share over here in our Telegram group. You can share over through mail also. Thank you very much to because as you are listening silently to us, once again thanking you.
Sir, test will be same timings, not tomorrow.
Tomorrow the test time. No, actually, be frankly speaking, whatever the four quiz has been given to you, it is open up to tomorrow morning, so you can fill it out, because we are giving to you full time. But I can request you fill as fast as possible. For tomorrow is concerned, we are floating the quiz approximately at 12 o'clock or before that, so that we can fill it out as fast as possible, and so that we can enter everything the data before 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay, right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
Yes,
Sir,
please.
there
Yes,
are
please.
2 more questions in the chat box. Sir, is natural fiber good in concrete?
Just 1 minute. I'm handling the session. I have referred the things.
Okay, sir.
Is it in the chat box or it is in the
Telegram group.
I'm
In the
going to
Telegram
say.
group.
According to your view, natural fiber is good in concrete? Ma'am, you have asked the questions about the natural fiber is concerned. There are two different things, is that FRC and FRP is concerned. So if you are using an individual fiber and if you want to apply with the concrete mix, then it is FRC. Right now we are discussing about FRP. FRP, that is the fiber reinforced polymer sheet, that or fiber reinforced, the reinforcement bar that will be applied. So both are the different things. So kindly clarify which you wanted to know. Second question is, to achieve 50% enhancement, how much is the cost? Now, your question is very perfectly right. Cost is concerned. Retrofitting which has been applied because of the reduction in the strength. When there is a reduction in the strength, you need to go for retrofitting. You have a different retrofitting technique. Now, it is a question of comparison with respect to any retrofitting technique plus the cost. It has been compared. But nowadays, this techniques has make a gaining popularity. It is not that much costly with the other one. Sir, attendance and marks are not uploaded. I kindly request, sir, attendance, it is not possible for me to upload right now. It is a privilege for, as a coordinator, has been given us to upload at the last date, and we have to submit. This is the first thing. Second, marks. Marks has been uploaded at the end of the day, combining, as the participant has to get 60% of the marks of the total mark and 80% of attendance. I wish my answer is very much clear to all the participants. Even though find any kind of doubt, please put on the Telegram. And one thing I will remember, we will remain in the Telegram group till you get a certificate. This Telegram group is there for you to resolve your query. Only three things should be there. First, physical attendance, 80%. Second, 60% of the marks to be achieved. Third, fill the feedback form. The two things are with us, one thing is there with you. So we have to cooperate and then we have to solve the issues. Is there any questions at all?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yes, please, sir.
Sir, in the FDP schedule that has been circulated, it is mentioned that the final quiz will be conducted on the 5th day, which
Okay.
means that apart from the daily assignment, there will be an exclusive test, or is it a combined version?
Sir, your question is very fine, sir. Actually, as per the guidelines of AICTE, it has been written that
Okay.
participant has to obtain the 60% out of the total. So
Okay.
what we decided, and also the AICTE told us to arrange 14 session,
Okay.
14 sessions. So per day 3 sessions, and the last day 2 sessions, that are the 14 session. So
Okay.
last session that has been kept for the valedictory and
Okay.
with certain quiz.
Okay.
But we thought that it is better to float a link of the test at certain earlier stage so that you can put it down, write down over here. We are not an exhaustive taking on quiz or the last day. Only 20 questions has to be floated down. Every day 15, 15, 15. And
Okay.
last day 20. Summation is
So
80.
those 20 questions will be a combination of from all the sessions, not exclusively from the tomorrow session, right?
Uh, Definitely tomorrow's session having a slightly higher weightage. Otherwise, it's a combination
Fine.
of that.
Fine, sir. Okay. Okay.
But
Got it.
I can repeat that we all are faculty fraternity, all are generally this is intentions of the AICTE Atal, and we are trying our best so that all can get benefited.
Fine, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I got it. Thank you.
One question from the sir is, does FRP stirrups spacing affect sheer performance of reinforced concrete dip beams? Does FRP stirrups spacing affect the shear performance of reinforced concrete beams? Generally, question is stirrups. Stirrups, the function of the stirrups is to, for the shear strengthening is concerned, to take a shear force. Definitely, if it is a FRP stirrups or as it is a steel stirrups, any particular stirrups and its spacing affect shear performance definitely. Definitely. Yes, that's right. More question, please. So once again, I thank you to all the participants. We will meet tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Yes, sir, please. So no questions, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful lecture. I truly appreciate you and your time you spent helping us. Also, we have an overwhelming response from all our participants. Thank you. I thank all the coordinators, participants, and volunteers of the event. Thank you.